Hey everyone, it's Anna. Welcome back to my channel. Thanks so much for visiting. Happy Saturday morning. Happy Saturday morning makes. I'm here this morning to share some snowman cards with you for hashtag snowmen in January 2025, hosted by Nancy at the Handy Scandy. And I thought I would share a couple different projects with you and then actually do another coloring or painting demonstration. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first couple cards that I'm going to share with you were made with my charming snowman, and this is one of my recently released sets for SweetMissDaisy Designs. So there's the shop info, but he is so cute. He has lots of big buttons on his belly. There's a button here on his scarf, which you really can't see because my stamp set is getting used and abused. There's a row of buttons down here, which is really fun to use. And then here is a star garland, which you can hang from his hand. You can make it go above his head like he's tossing stars. You could use it on backgrounds, all that kind of stuff. And then this is a little teeny tiny poem which reads, and it's actually meant to be just an interest piece for your backgrounds, not necessarily as a standalone sentiment, but it says, twigs for arms, a carrot nose, charcoal eyes, and a cheerful pose. Build a snowman, sing for all to hear, for winter comes around each year. So that's a little poem that I wrote for this set. So that's charming. And then here is a card to share with you. He is stamped on watercolor paper and painted, of course, and then I splattered him really good with my Colero. Let me share it. I always share it, and I always have to reach for it. You'd think I would just leave it here on my desk. It is the Colero Gold and Silver watercolor palette. So that's the gold paint that you're seeing there. Of course, I added some Dollar Tree ribbon to the side and a cute little vintage shell button there, mother of pearl button. And I think he's so cute. I just love him. He has gold colored suspenders and fun gray pants. The paper in the background here is one from my previously released collections called Distressed Snowflakes. And I love that paper collection. So I think he's cute as can be. I don't think the inside has anything. Yeah, I have a lot of work to do before I can send any of these cards out because they're not finished. Oh, I'll mention too, he's got little peach cheeks, and that was done using a color pencil. So the image is watercolored, and then the little pink cheeks were done using a Prismacolor color pencil. And then here is another charming snowman card to share with you. So he was stamped on 110 or 120 pound cardstock. It's alcohol marker friendly cardstock, and so he was colored with markers then, and then I added extra details on the background with colored pencil, and that's how I was able to get those really fine swirlies behind him. So I think he's cute as can be. I used that little poem in the set to add some interest to his side, to his little pants down here, and also to his hat, you can see up here, and a little tiny bit here on his scarf. So you can see that's how I use that little teeny tiny poem stamp that's in the set. And then I love the buttons stamped here in the background. I think that looks really fun, just that tone-on-tone stamping using that button image from the set. So Frosty Friends make winter warm on the inside, and then in the back I stamped the buttons and signed my name. So there is that fun card. And then I also want to share a couple cards with you using Cozy Wishes. This is my other stamp set that was released in January for SweetMissDaisy, and this is a fun squat snowman, so short and fat. And there's extra snowflakes. There's a little button with some holly. The sentiment in this set is warm and cozy wishes. And then this is like a pillow ticking stamp that you can use on your backgrounds or to add some texture to your snowman, things like that. So that is Cozy Wishes. And so then just a couple more cards to share with you using this stamp set. And this one I stamped the snowman on, again, that heavy white cardstock. And I die cut it using my one of my dies that I released with Impression Obsession, one of my circle dies, and then this scallop was one of my dies too. And then I colored the image with alcohol markers and added some cute little white polka dots on his or her cheeks, either, I guess. But I love the color of the hat. I thought that was a unique take on a cute little snowman cap. So, and then colored the buttons brown, added a twine bow and another one of my vintage buttons. And then I also used my Worn Dots paper on this card too. So that's what that paper looks like. And then of course I did faux stitching on all of these cards. I did faux stitching, but that is this card, and I think she has the sweetest little face. So the inside of this one is blank, and so is the back. And then this is the last card I have to share with you using this set. And this one was stamped on watercolor paper and painted with watercolor paint. And I did add a little bit of distress ink to the watercolor panel before I painted it, so that distress ink can kind of mingle with the paints. And then I probably added some afterwards as well, it looks like. But nice toasty brown hat, toasty warm scarf, some twig arms, and I love those great big buttons on his belly. The cardstock, or the pattern paper that I used here in the background, is from the Sweetheart collection. This black or charcoal gray design is the back side of this chocolate heart print. So, and I think this one's probably blank too. Yeah, so blank and blank. But those are the 4 cards I have to share with you for Snowmen in January. But let's go ahead and do a stamped image of Cozy Wishes. Since I did one of Charming last video, we'll do Cozy Wishes today. So I'm going to use my mini Misty here. And set that there. And let's see. I'm going to get out the stamp here. These are top quality photopolymer stamps, which are so nice to use. All right, so I'm going to close my Misty lid and pick up that stamp there, and I'm going to stamp it because I want to watercolor the image. I'm going to stamp it in VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink. I like this ink for watercoloring. It has a nice crisp image, and it stays put when you use water-based products. Give it a good press. And that looks pretty good, but I'm going to stamp it one more time just for a little bit of more darkness in the stamp image. Look at that. There's an Oliver hair right there. Shocking. Shocking. Really, Oliver? The hazards of a golden retriever. All right. Give this another press down, but also one of the delights of using the Mini Misty is that stamping it over in the same spot is so easy. So I'm going to go with that. That looks really good. All right, and I'm going to clean my stamp and put it away once I'm finished here with the video. So let's go ahead and paint Cozy Wishes. I'm going to paint the snowman using this Pretty Excellent watercolor paint, which is the same paint you saw me use when I painted Charming. And I'm probably going to use just paint that's left over in my palette lid. You can see the green and blue that I have left here from when I painted my Charming snowman. And this was the color I used on his nose, and this is where I demonstrated these 2 different reds. So, still haven't washed it, probably won't. But let's go ahead and add some distress ink to the snowman first. So I'm going to get that down so I don't have to clean my desk up. And I'm going to use this great big blender brush. This was one of the ones that Picket Fence Studio released. It was one of the original brushes. And I really like this really large, the large belly of this particular brush. I'm not worried about, see where the paper caught some extra ink here? I'm not worried about that because I'll probably end up trimming it down, or if I don't trim it down, you know, it just adds to the worn look of the cardstock, or to the watercolor paper. All right, that should be plenty. And now I'm going to use, not my 0 brush, I'm going to use my number 2 brush, since this is a snowman with slightly larger spaces in him. So let's see, I think I'm going to start, I kind of like the idea of this, what am I looking for here? This aqua hat again. I think that's so pretty. So, and this was colored with alcohol markers. So let's see if I can do something similar with watercolor paint. So I'm going to maybe use this blue here. This is a pretty bright blue. So see, there's that blue, maybe even a little bit of this one. Oh yeah, that's pretty. Okay. All right, so I guess I'll zoom in a little. And I'm going to start down here. Of course, I start down here with this little teeny area with this bigger brush. That's right. And I like using the distress ink when I want a little bit of variation in my paint that has brown tones in it, because this is a water reactive paint and it will mix and mingle with my watercolor pigments. I also have some clean water here at my desk, which is what I'm dipping my paintbrush into. And I might not even need to add much more watercolor, or much more watercolor pigment, because this blue will go a long way. And then also, because the distress ink is reacting, it's going to have color where I might just be adding water as well. So that looks pretty good for the first pass. So I think I'm going to make the hat brim a similar blue. It's like a little cuff on the hat, little nightcap. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. I don't really know what my plans are. Fart around, do some drawing, probably some crafting, probably, I don't know, some chores around the house, stay warm, it's cold outside. All right, so there's the hat. I'm going to paint an area that's not next to this hat so that my colors don't bleed together. So I'm going to hop down here and probably, do I want to paint the belly? I think I'll paint the belly first, and that way if I go over the scarf area at all, the scarf area will be darker and it'll cover up any of my boo-boos that I make, should I make any. And I'm just going to take this really pale blue here and add just a little bit more to it. And that's what I'm going to use for the color of my snowman. And this time I'm actually going to start down here on his belly. In my last video, I said I was going to start painting it on his belly and then promptly started painting on his face. That's usually where I start, honestly, when I start painting, is the face, for whatever reason. And so now I'm just adding water, clear water to the snowman, and dragging that little bit of pigment that I added over. And then I'll add a little bit more pigment on this far side to bring a little bit more color over here, blue color. But pretty much just using that distress ink that I set down to be the color of the snowman. I'll add a little bit more blue over here. And then I could even carry some down here in the snow, just adding plain water. And then I can't forget this little area over here. So I need to grab some of my blue paint and add it. And this area is probably going to be where the most shadow is on my snowman. And so I'll probably add 2 colors or 2 layers of color here if I feel like this dries down too light. There. Cute. Oh my gosh, so cute. All right, so now I could probably do the face. That hat brim is pretty much dry. So I'm just going to use the same paint from my palette here. Just a little bit of color on this side, and then add just clear water, plain water, and pull that color over. And then I can even add more water on this side and push that color back. I always like my light source to come from the right, and so I typically will make all my shadows here on the left. Looks that fun? See how it's belly? Modeled with that brown paint. That's so fun. I love the unexpected results that you can get with this technique. And then let's see, I think my belly is almost dry, so I can paint my buttons, but I think I'm going to move over to my arms. I'm going to switch to the smaller paintbrush. This is a number 0. And I'm just going to grab this dark brown here. And put some up here in my palette. Oh, look, another Oliver hair. And really easily just paint the snowman's arms with that pretty brown. It's almost like a toasted Hershey bar or something. Toasted Hershey bar, that would be probably be melted. Oh, I'm tired. But I wanted to hop on and share this with you guys, so there we go. And now I think I'll do the snowman's nose, and I'm going to use, I think I'm going to use this orange here and mix it with this little caramel brown I have up here. So let's see, this is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th orange in, mixed with this caramely brown down here on the bottom. That should be a nice nose color. I got a little bit of water over here. Can you see it? And I don't get too concerned about like filling in spaces completely. So you can see right here on the top of the nose where I didn't get the paint all the way to the top of the line. That kind of acts as a highlight. So don't get too carried away with filling in the whole space. If you leave those little skips and misses, it adds more interest to your painting. All right, let's go ahead and move down to the buttons. Maybe I'll do his buttons. This super dark blue. It's like a Payne's gray, but a little bit more on the blue side. I don't know, it's very pretty blue. And I have some fun blue buttons that I can use as embellishments when I make this guy into a card. I can use some of my blue buttons. And they'll be all matchy-matchy. All right, add a little bit more. I'm going to do this one up here blue too. I should probably do it a contrasting color, but I'm going with blue. All right. And let's see, for a scarf, I think I'm going to use olive. I love olive colors. So I'm just going to grab a little bit of this olive green here and put it up here in my palette. I want to thin it down a little bit. I don't want it to be super thick. I just want it to be really just a subtle suggestion of olive. Yeah, I like that. Nice thing about using thin paint like this is it's difficult to add too much at first. So you can always go back and add another layer if you want to darken up your color, but it's hard to remove it if you've added too much right away. So that's why I like using what's left in my paint palette before dipping into my wells of pigment again. And you could make this scarf all different color stripes. You could do all kinds of stuff with it with these fun stitching bands in it. But I'm just going to do one color, but I'm going to kind of carry the shadows on like a single side of the stitching here, just for a little bit of interest. And then here and there. And finally down here. I might add some more here too, because there's going to be a slightly darker shadow there where the scarf is folded. I'm going to use the same green up on the holly as well. There we go. And I think what I'm going to do also, I want my pom-pom on my hat to be white, but I don't want to just leave it white. I'm going to add just a hint of blue around it, and that's going to make the white of that pom-pom really, really shine. So I'm just going to add a little bit of blue. It's the same blue that I was using to paint my snowman's body, and I'm going to make it super, super thin with water. So see, it's the same blue. I'm just going to thin it right down so that when I do add it here, it's just super light. And I'm just going to dot and dab a little bit, kind of almost just creating a shadow and using that shadow to negative paint around the pom-pom on his hat. I think that's cute. You can thin it out even with just plain water if you want. Just remember, anytime you touch this watercolor paper out here, because you've put the distress ink on it, it's going to get a distress mark. So see this little water dot that I got on here is actually lifting the pigment of the ink, and it's going to create a light spot on my paper. So to mask that in, what I might want to do is splatter the whole thing with water, and then that would blend in, and it wouldn't look like a little boo-boo right there. But now you can see how that paint around the pom-pom makes that pom-pom look more white. I love that. And then I think I'm going to do his cheeks with a colored pencil. And I think I can do it now. They seem to be dry. Let's see. Which one do I want to use? I think I'll use this one. I have so many pink choices. Too many choices. Okay, this is a Mark Art colored pencil. Here's the brand. And it is in the color N071. I'm going to dab away this little spot here. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to very lightly on the snowman's cheek. I'm just barely touching the paper. Just start making circles. And again, I'm just barely touching the paper. And then make one on the other side that's probably about the same size anyways. You can see the texture of the watercolor paper makes the pencil skip. Because I'm not even pressing down hard enough to flatten the texture. So just barely, barely touching. And then what you might do too, if you get a little heavy-handed or you don't like the texture of the lines that you've left, you can use a blender. They make them, they're basically clear blenders, and you can blend your colors together. So there's different brands of them. This is a Prismacolor one. This one happens to be a Rembrandt. But they all do pretty much the same thing. Here's one from Caran d'Ache. But you can get different brands of them. Some of them are softer than others, so they'll move the color around more than others will. But I kind of like the Prismacolor one. It's kind of just like a medium blender. And again, just in circular motions, just kind of move that little pigment around, and it'll just kind of blend the strokes, the pencil strokes in. You can also use like a Q-tip or something like that, just something to kind of rub those pigment particles around. So there, that's so cute. And I think I will also add some little white dots. So let me get rid of the pencil. This is a blush brush. I just use it to wipe away my pencil shavings. I'm just going to add some little dots on her cheeks or his cheeks. And this is a number 10 Jelly Roll pen in white. And I could come down here and add some white down here too, just to make that even more white on his pom-pom. So there you go. There's Cozy Wishes painted up in olive and turquoise, and so cute. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Happy Saturday, happy weekend, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. I will talk to you again very soon. Bye.